Hello there, YouTube. I know it's been a while, and I apologize, but I'm here to bring you a budget deck profile of Counter Fairies, which is basically 3 copies of the Wave of Light of Structure deck. So, in case anyone who wants to play something like this is a good template you can use. So, like I said, I apologize for my absence. Had a number of things that needed to be taken care of, and just sheer lack of just anything to really put into the deck. Or into decks in general. So, but at least with the format, it should be a lot better. So, I'm going to start with the deck. So, we're playing 2 copies of the Sacred Arknight Pershath. You can play one of this. It's a good card to summon off the counter trap, which, you know, the deck can hard summon it as well through its own effects. So, and also it does piercing and gets you advantage as you go forward. We then play the 3 copies of the Bountiful Artemis. You activate a counter trap, you draw a card. Simple as that. We're playing Ties of the Brethren because it does come in the structure deck, so you always want to have at least one of these on your field at all times. We're then playing 3 copies of Guiding Ariadne because it turns all of the counter traps that have a cost that play by either paying life points or by discarding a card, basically nothing. Which is important because you could place it in the pendulum scale, and when it dies, you get to reveal 3 counter traps, and your opponent, randomly picks one and adds it to your hand. So, we're then playing 3 Minerva, the Scholar of the Sky. When you have the Sentry in the Sky on the board, it basically turns every counter trap into 1-for-1s because you activate a counter trap, you add a 1 with a different name. Otherwise, this card gains 500 attack every time a counter trap resolves. So, with one counter trap, it becomes 22. So, we're then playing 2 copies of the Powered Angel Valkyria. You can play one of this, or even more if you'd like. There's just not a whole lot of targets you can search off of this. It doesn't activate off of Drastic Drop Off, which is one of the favorite counter trap, Drastic Drop Off, in order to, activate as something. So, but it does add certain cards. We do play one of each of the Heralds. So, 1 Meltiel because Sentry in the Sky, and this becomes a 1-card pop every counter trap. So, and then we're playing one of each of the Heralds. It's something to give Valkyria something to search other than duplicate copies of monsters you already have. So, Plus, it also triggers Valkyrie's effect. They trigger Valkyrie's effect. So, 1 Honest, it's searchable. You can recycle it. Nothing much to it. For spells, we're playing the 3 copies of Ties of the Brethren because it is a very broken card. Kind of wish this card was printed more often, or we had it earlier, much earlier. So, but yeah, pay 2,000, summon monsters. It works great if you draw this, a monster, and Sentry in the Sky, and counter traps. So, we're then playing 3 Sanctum of Parshath. It counts as a Sentry in the Sky when it's on the board or in the graveyard, but in the graveyard it doesn't really matter because there's no card that applies to it yet. We then, it recycles your counter traps and your monsters, protects your face-down cards, which is cruel. And then we are playing 2 the Sentry in the Sky, mainly because we need Sentry in the Sky in order to play certain cards. So it's best to have it. Plus, this card prevents battle damage. So, for traps, we're playing for the counter traps. Are 3 copies of Drastic Drop Off. So this is a counter trap that you can open in your opening hand and just activate it, because when your opponent draws a card for their turn, you can activate this. Gets rid of it, so it's a 1-for-1 card. It activates Artemis, so you draw cards. Minerva to rotate cards back to your hand. So, because we're playing the Sentry in the Sky, specifically, we're playing 3 Divine Punishment. The ratios for the rest of the countertops are completely up to your own discretion. I like playing Divine Punishment because if you have this in Sanctuary, you can basically negate anything, which is very important. We're then playing 2 Ultimate Providence. Now, I'm playing 2 instead of 3, even though we're playing Guiding Ariadne, is that by itself, you might not have the card to discard to negate the right effect, which is important. So, otherwise, with Guiding Ariadne, it makes it so that you don't have to discard for it, so you can activate it at any time. So, we're then playing 2 Rebirth of Parseth. 3's too many in my opinion, 2 is just right. With Guiding Ariadne, all you have to do is reveal a counter trap. Otherwise, you have to reveal a counter trap, discard a card, and pay 1,000 life to negate a monster, spell, or trap. And then you shuffle it like Wiretap, and then you get to special summon a Parseth, so you get to summon the Sacred Arcanite. So, and then we're playing 2 Dark Bribe and 1 Recall because it's more counter traps, and then we're playing the 1 Warning. So, that's the Counter Fairy budget deck. Basically, it's 3 Wave of Light structure decks, which is just fine. So, let me know what you think, and I hope you out there are not too mad that I've been gone for way too long, in my opinion. But, like I said, I've got profiles coming up as time goes on. So, at least with the new sets coming out, I'm still waiting for a ban list before I really start posting stuff. But other than that, let me know what you think.